Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing so good. How are you doing?
Good.
I always forget Instagram it's just different over here. So, hi everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I am live with the Lisa Summers, and your hair is herring.
Thank you.
Oh my God, it's so beautiful. How long have you had those locks? Tell us about that.
8 years. I started in 2015. And everyone wants to know how long did it take. So it took 27 hours for them to lock my hair. So 3 days.
Oh my goodness. I had locks before. I guess I can't even call them locks. Like I had started them, they were locked in most places, not all the way. But I was in my third trimester or maybe second. I was a hot mess. My husband came home. I was like, listen, here are the scissors. You're going to cut my hair or I'm going to cut my hair. And I shaved my shit off. So,
Yikes.
but they're so pretty. Did you have a reason when you first decided?
I don't do hair. And it's always a hassle. It's always a problem. I was always going to get it braided. Just throwing on wigs, put whatever. Like hair is always a challenge. Like you think about it, you got to wake up in the morning, you got to comb it, you got to do this, you got to do that. Think of all the hours that I save now. I don't have to wake up in the morning and brush or comb or do anything. I wash it once in a while and I get it done once a month. It takes her 2 hours and I'm out of there. So it's just such a freeing experience having locks. So these are sister locks. But
Yes.
either way, it's just so freeing not to have to worry about your hair.
I love sister locks, and you're getting comments. Let's see, Young AM123 said they look fresh though.
Thank
Like
you.
for real.
And it's
All
crazy
right,
because
y'all.
with a perm, they wouldn't have my hair never would have grew this long. So it just
Isn't
goes to
that
really
right?
show if you leave your hair alone or let it grow the way it should, or, don't put a million chemicals in it, it'll do what it's supposed to do. Now, I don't know.
Listen, let me run that back for my 13-year-old. Because if y'all have teens, especially teen girls, like they stay in the damn mirror with the eco gel. And I'm like, listen, you ain't had no edges in about 10 years. I'm just letting you know. Like, you gotta be one of them ones. Like, stop, just leave your shit alone. So,
Yeah.
all right, y'all. Welcome to the Moms Who Cheat podcast. Lisa has so elegantly blessed me to be able to talk to her and have her on here. We've connected before, and she is just so sweet, so amazing, and she's doing some amazing shit. So, of course, I love to talk to women who are doing that. And if you have not tuned in to Moms to Achieve, which many of you guys have not, because I typically go live on Facebook, but Lisa's people is over here. Like y'all over here, y'all showing up, y'all supporting. And so that's what we're doing. I did one live, I think here. I think I actually was on someone else's podcast. This might actually be the first live I've done here. So Facebook is my jam. You want to find me over there, Regina Sloan, but I do try to show up for y'all over here. So the Moms Who Achieve podcast, when I am doing the healing hour conversations, which are these, I typically have conversations with other moms about their journey as a mom. We talk about what they're doing in the world, and we really talk about the shit that society doesn't really like to talk about. We on Instagram and we seeing the mom got all her shit together, house clean, kids, to the nines, they good behaved and everything else. And we talk about the real things here. Like, what is it really like being a mom and wanting to build more, do more, and that looks different for everybody. So, Lisa, thank you for being here, and let us know, like, I'll just let you do your own intro of like who you are and what's coming up for you right now. We'll get the conversation started. And if y'all have questions, put those in the chat. It's a lot of folks tuning in. I'm trying to keep up, and I'll type those questions over here and ask her at the end.
All right.
So, tell us who you are. How many babies you got?
All right, so I'm Lisa, 39 years old. I'm proud to say that, almost 40.
Yes.
And I have 2 children. Journey is 5 and Apollo is 2. I've been married to Tony for 11 years now. We've been together for 13. So definitely in my corner, that's my family to help me be able to do everything because I can't do it by myself at all.
Yes.
So.
How old is your oldest one? I didn't catch
5.
5 and a 2-year-old.
3, 5 and 3,
Baby.
5 and
5
3.
and
Yep,
3-year-old.
5 and 3.
Okay, that's right along the same age as my younger two. All right, so we talked a little bit before, and actually, I think would be super helpful is you if you were open to talking a little bit about your journey conceiving them and what that was like for you all.
Yeah, so, at first we were just living life, traveling. It was like, all right, it's time to have kids. And, all these TV shows and everything make it so easy. Like, you just turn a switch and I'm going to get pregnant. And that did not happen. And it was like,
Mhm.
okay, so for so many years, this is not what we wanted, right? And then when
Mhm.
you want it, and you can't get it, it's like, what is going on? Like, everybody around you can get pregnant in a minute, and then you can't. So that was kind of like um a little hard on us. And so, of course, I went to a fertility specialist and we went through everything. So I am a firm believer of being an open book. I did IVF for both of my children, and it worked. There were some disappointments. Sometimes it didn't work. And then all in the end, it actually ended up working. So God blessed us with a girl and then with a boy. And so that was a long process that we had to go through to get children. And now it's on more TV shows. It's definitely a topic of conversation that people are talking about a lot more. But 6 years ago, it was kind of something that, you didn't really know anybody that went through this, or maybe it was hush hush that they were doing it, or it was something you knew rich people did. So I always don't mind sharing this because I know that infertility is something that plagues a lot of people. And we went through it and it worked for us. So I was very happy to have my beautiful two little children, and they were planned with lots of money that we had to pay.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Tell me about
yeah,
that too. What comes to mind when you're talking about that is when you said you went years without wanting kids, right?
right.
And then when you did want kids, it's like, oh shit, this is like taking longer than I thought, or it's not working out. Will it work out? Did you have any sense of, God damn, like why did we wait so long, or we wouldn't have waited this long had we known?
So no, not that, but I mean, not wanting to have kids, what do, right? You get on all sorts of birth controls and you do so much. And I think maybe I could have dove deeper into what were inside of all these different medicines, or what I was
Mm-hmm.
doing each time I would continue to take the pill and skip, or different things like that, because it was like, I'm in my 20s, I don't want kids, so I'm going to do whatever I can do not to have them right now, right? And you don't think of your body and what you're doing to it during that time. So I think that's definitely important just to think about. But no, I wouldn't have done it any other way. I'm glad they came when they did. I mean, if I would have had kids at 21, I would have been off the chain. I'm just telling you. Too impatient, definitely not my time. I was still a kid myself. So I'm glad I waited until I was a lot older, more mature, and had the time and the funds to do so.
Listen, amen. Because I was pregnant at 15. And when I tell y'all, and I had another one after, I got 4 kids. I sucked as a mom until 30, like, period. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I did my best in my 20s, but like looking back, it's like you turn 30 and a switch hits and you're like, oh, like there's other people that matter outside of me. Like,
But you probably
before
had a
then,
lot more energy at 15, right?
yes, and listen, the snapback was real, but like I still like it was all about me, right? So I love that. I love when I talk to women, especially because I feel like we're coming out of that, but we're very much, especially our age, or like was raised in the culture of like, you're not having kids, what's wrong? Like you get done with some of us were talked like, getting married and having kids, and like it was a thing even before getting out of college. Like now we're starting to have discussions of it's okay to like have kids later and to wait. You know what I mean? But it wasn't the thing before.
Yeah, for sure.
Listen, let's see what she said. Someone just said something. I lost energy after 30.
Yeah.
Prestigious.
Yeah.
Listen, I think that I don't know. I won't say that hasn't happened to me yet. Well, I guess I'm not as energetic as 21. That's 100% sure. But it definitely hits different when you're 30. You got your shit together. So tell me then, where are you? You tell us about your Instagram, because you got what, thousands of followers. You're obviously bringing something to Instagram that the people love. Tell us all about that.
Okay, so I have always been a person that likes unique experiences. I like to travel. I like to find out what's new, what's hot, what's going on. And I'm always talking to my friends, my family, like, hey, did you know that new water park is coming to town? They're like, what new water park? And I'm like, you didn't know? And they're like, how did you, I'm posting pictures on Facebook, like, oh, we went to see this new amusement park, or went to this amazing event or this parade, and everybody's like, how'd you know about this? Why didn't you tell us? Right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, it seems that I have a gift for planning, organizing, uncovering these things, right? So people are saying they want to know, like, where can I go? How can I find this too? So I'm like, how can I get that across, right? So I started off just putting things on Facebook here and there, but whatever. It was a hit or miss, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people would see it after I already went. So it's like, okay, this isn't working. And then I just knew like I wanted to share my experiences and start doing things. So I started out on TikTok actually, hoping that I can do something there. And I just was not getting it. I'm like, I don't understand this. I didn't even know how to work TikTok. I didn't use it. I'm old. I'm a Facebooker, right?
Right.
And so I'm trying to figure that out. So I got help with someone on like how to do it, where to go, how to upload a video, how to put the words, all of that mattered, right? And I did a couple of videos and they fell flat, of course. But then over time, I noticed they were picking up traction. And one of them was like free things to do in Baltimore. And before I knew it, had 100,000 views. And I'm like, oh, I'm on to something here, right?
Damn.
And I think the biggest thing around here in this area, we're so close to DC. We're so close to, we're close to Philly, we're close to New York, we're close to a lot of things. But a lot of the content creators in this area, they would come to Baltimore once in a while, but majority of their content was focused on DC or Northern Virginia. And I felt like there was an opportunity to show more Baltimore. But when I really looked into it, I was like, there's more of an opportunity to show all of Maryland, because Baltimore is not Maryland. And people used to always say that. And I'd be like, how is
Yeah.
Baltimore not Maryland? Like, it's in Maryland, right? But I get that statement now. Baltimore's not Maryland because a lot of people think that Baltimore is all there is to Maryland. And Maryland is huge. Just like New York City is not New York, right?
Right.
We know that New York
Right.
is way bigger than just the Queens and, Brooklyn and all of that. It's all these areas that people don't know about or go to. So it's the same thing. Baltimore is not Maryland. And it's so many other places to go here, so much to do. So that's kind of where I honed in on like what to do here. And I brought that over to Instagram. Again, all my videos fell flat. They were doing great on TikTok, but terrible on Instagram. So I had to learn that as well. And just to be fully transparent, when I decided I wanted to do this, I wanted to do this. So I actually took classes. I actually found reputable people who offer courses on Instagram, offer classes on how to do TikTok. I was like, I want to really do this. I don't want to putt around for 5 years and try to figure it out. I want a roadmap. And that's what I did. And that paid off once everything clicked. And that's how I went from like I had 750 followers to now have over 80,000 followers, and it's only been 6 months. So anything you want to learn, anything you want to do, just like if you had a job, right? If you get a job, you're going to learn how to do the job. And I think so many people take social media like, oh, I'll just learn as I go along. I'll learn as a hobby. And I actually took the time to say, no, I want to definitely take a class, learn how to do this, and that's how I kind of like came up like that. So that's pretty much my journey.
I want to point out, because you said so much shit here, I want to point out, y'all, some things that I thought about when you said that was you tried different things. How many of us have amazing ideas? We tried once, don't nobody see it, ain't nobody responded, up, that ain't it. we go to something else. Like we just keep going on and on, and like you caught on to like, oh, there's a need here, right? Like people aren't posting the kind of things that I want to post. Okay. Then you caught on to, whoa, that just went viral over there. So people are wanting this. And even though you brought it over and it wasn't working, you didn't give up on that. So like you stayed with the plan. Like consistency is how we really start to build something. Like a lot of us, I can go on all day about like how we want to try something and we want that shit to work right now. Like when we look though at like Jeff Bezos and all these different people, even Oprah, like so many years of it, quote unquote, not working. Mm-hmm. And I like to look at it, how I learned it as is really just putting value, putting things in the value bank. Like we can't see what's coming, but it's coming. Right. It's coming from the actions that we're taking. And then I love what you said. Like, I don't want to spend these years trying to figure this out. I'm going to go over here and invest and pay someone who can help me, who already have done what I'm trying to do so that I can catapult. So like you said, it's been 5-10 years maybe trying to get to 80,000, and here you are in less than a year. Like you invested, you put your money, like an energetic exchange, into learning what you need to learn, you know, to move forward. So I just want to point that out for y'all. The first question we had was, how did you find reputable people? And I'm assuming like to learn from.
Definitely. So there are a ton of people on social media who are like, I'm a social media coach, I'm a coach, right? But one is, if you're going to teach me or show me how to do something, I need to see that you can do it yourself. So if you're a brand new coach with 4,000 followers, I mean, you might know everything, but I need to see that you're doing it. And you've been doing it for a while. So I actually found somebody that they're on YouTube. I felt like all their information that they were sharing was easy to digest. I could follow along with that because there's so many different people, right? Yeah. And you got to find who fits you. And so I'll actually share the link to the person. When this is over, I can share the link to my stories or whatever.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah.
The lady who I follow. Yeah, and so she definitely helped me a lot on Instagram. And then I actually, for TikTok, what I did is I went to the person who I followed on TikTok, who was my inspiration. And they're in this area. Her name is Morgan versus the World. And so she shows a lot of things in the DMV, date night stuff. And I'm like, hey, this is what I want to do. So I talked to tons of content creators and I DM'd them like, hey, I want to do this. What's your biggest tip? What can you help? What can you tell me? What can you help me with? And I think that's one thing people forget is they try to do it on their own, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm a big person of asking questions. Even people who are not in social media. One of my best friends, she didn't even have TikTok or Instagram. But I'm like, how does this sound? How does this look? I'm asking other people before I do it. And of course, you're going to get all different answers. But just asking around, like, why do you think this didn't work? And that's how I found my number one answer. When I was putting lists of like things coming up and events, somebody told me something that was like the truest thing ever. She said, people don't want to just see what's coming up. They want to see you going and enjoying life so then they can want to go and do it. And that's when everything clicked to me. And so just like I said, I wouldn't have picked a person for showing me how to do social media that didn't have a million, so not a million, but a whole bunch of followers, right? So why would somebody want to follow me to fun places if they don't even see me going to the fun places? So it's like, that's kind of like hand in hand. You need to show that you're the expert in whatever you're doing and that you're having a good time so that people in turn will want to go and have a good time too.
Ooh, that is so good. And it makes sense because one, not everybody is going to be, if you're smart, you're not throwing your money just anywhere, right? So, and I think about that even with my clients and anybody else in any kind of coaching space, like living the breakthrough. Like, I'm coming to you to get help in an area. I need to know that you've done that you're at least some steps ahead of me and created that for yourself. So I absolutely agree. PC Hall says, how did you get through the times when a post didn't do so well? Which was something I noted too to ask you.
I actually posted a post today that only got 9 likes. Now I got 80,000 people and only 9 people liked it, right? I was like, oh my gosh, like what in the world? There are other times that I post content and I'm like, this is gonna flop, it's gonna be terrible, and next thing I know, it goes viral. So the one thing I would
Mm.
say about social media is that it's just so unpredictable. I just have to say, you know what? Overall, people like the content, and I just, chalk it up. Like, if you go to work, some days you have good days and you have bad days at work, right? You don't just
Mm.
say, well, I'm quitting the job. Now, if you have more bad days than good days, you might quit the job. But I try to look at it on a scale and say I have more good posts, more good days than bad days. But I feel like that a lot. I mean, social media is a very emotional tool,
Yeah.
and you're creating something. It's art. You're birthing something. You're creating something each and every day for other people.
Mm-hmm.
And just think if you were an artist and you're like drawing all these designs, and then nobody ever wants to buy them, nobody ever wants to look at them. They're like, oh, that's trash. It would make you feel terrible. But you got to see the vision. You got to see your dream. Like, I'm making this art because I enjoy it. I like it. And one day other people will like it too. Now, if you have to fine tune it or make some changes so that more people can see that, that's what you got to do. But that's how I do it. I just say, you know what? I got more good posts than bad posts. Let me learn why that one didn't do well and then keep going forward.
Oh, yeah. And I want to add to that too, that a lot of us, like even that question, as we think of that, when we're thinking of, even if it's not social media, it's building something else or doing something or starting a business or putting ourselves out there, doing whatever dreams we have, we are conformed and conditioned from a young age to need other people to give us a pat on the back. You're doing good. And oh, this is great. We need other people to like it. And what I've learned, like, it's really just our thoughts around that. But when we focus on serving, like for you, as you're building this, you're putting this content out there and nobody knows who you are at first, it's like, there's one mom out there. There's one family that wants to find something to do with her children, with her family. Like, I'm just going to focus on that one fucking person
Yeah,
that's interested in what I have. And then really just when you're coming from a serving space, and that's why I think when we're just trying to hop into all these different things to make money, it's easy to just flop because there is a point in time from when you get started to when you actually are hitting those goals that you want, like that whole journey. Like, if you don't have your own why compelled, like a compelling why for yourself, like it's easy back up, I'm going to the next one. So really like tap in to like what makes you smile, what
yeah,
makes you happy, what makes you feel like inspired. And that's what you can hold on to in those times where like nobody's biting. Like I mentioned, Jeff Bezos, Oprah Winfrey, like they knew what it is they wanted to do. Bob Proctor, so many different people, right? That no one's like, who the fuck is this person? But they knew and they were like energetically connected to what they were doing. So it's easier to show up on those days.
definitely, definitely.
How do you balance? Oh yeah, let's get into mommy time for sure. How do you balance mommy time, hubby time, and you time with work and content creation? Which I swear, PC, you on to something. Cause I'm like, listen, like that's one here. I'm like, hey, shooting content with kids. What's up? How are you doing this? You got all like, where are the kids? What's happening? How are you editing it? Like, tell us how you as a mom is you're doing and creating all this and the struggles of that as well.
Okay, so one of the big things, so I didn't drop this yet. So I'm working, I got my corporate career. I'm like, okay, I want to do social media. I knew maybe in October, November last year, I want to do social media. I hired people in January. I'm like, I really want to do this. I'm ready. And then January 15th, my job of 10 years said, sorry, we're laying you and everybody else off.
Mm,
So it's like, what now? What am I gonna do? And if anybody has been searching for a job recently, you know that it's a job looking for a job. Like, you work way more than 40 hours changing your resume and on the hunt and doing all this stuff. So it was kind of like, what do I want to do? Do I want to actually go back to corporate America right away? Do I want to work for myself? What do I want to do? So at that time, it was really tough because I had to pull my kids out of daycare, and I had to stay home with them.
mm-hmm.
And, it was really hard to be able to like make content and do things because it's hard to be in a creative space when you don't know at any minute somebody's going to walk in like, mommy, 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 I need this, mommy, I need that. It's so nerve
Yes.
wracking. Like, you have to get into a zone to create, to be like, okay, how do I want this video to be? What do I want my caption to be? Like, what is it going to look like? And so if I'm going to be, interrupted every 5 seconds, I can't even do it. So it was just so hard to really create with them home. But it wasn't hard to go out and shoot content because at home with kids for 24 hours is much longer than going out with kids to me. I mean, I'm cleaning up like 1,000 times, right? I'm cleaning up the house
Yes.
over and over and over. I'm doing all this stuff. So I'm like, let's just go out. You know, I've never had it in my career where I've had summers off, right? I've never had it in my career where I could go to the beach on a Tuesday. I've never had it when I could just go out and do stuff that many people who homeschool or have this type of lifestyle could do. So we went to a lot of places that parents take kids during the week, during the evenings, during all different times where it was a lot less traffic. And I was able to film that and just have them have pure joy and fun, you know? So I'm not like setting anything up when I'm filming and I'm out. I'm actually filming whatever's going on. So the magic's really not happening there. I'm just pointing my phone and doing it. And then I would have to wait until they went to bed at, 8, 9 o'clock at night and be up till 2, 3 in the morning editing videos. So you really got to look at it as like, this is my job. This is what I'm choosing to do. And even if I got to stay up till 2, 3 in the morning to get it done and then wake back up at 7 when the kids wake up and, do mommy life, that's how I had to do it. So since then, I have gotten another job again. It's so tough not knowing if your bills are going to be paid, right? How can you create? How can you, be a great artist when you're like, I don't even know if I can pay the gas and electric bill. So I did get another job, but this job is definitely a lot less stressful than the careers I had prior. So I'm able to still make money coming in, but I have the time and the kids can go back to daycare. My daughter is now in kindergarten. And so not having them with me all day gives me more time to create. So even if I do this full time, which is my ultimate goal, so I can show more places to more people, the kids still need to go somewhere to do something.
Yeah. Like, how is that stay-at-home mom? How was that for you in that time that you did that?
Stay-at-home mom is 0 stars. I do not recommend it. What do people say? So it's everything. It's the worst. Like, I do not ever, 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 ever want this job again. I'm telling you, it's the hardest job in mankind. Every stay-at-home mom should get $1 million raise. It is the hardest thing. I'm like going crazy. Like, I hated it. So give me a job. Let me go work a job. I don't care.
Listen, daddy daycare. Like, I am a proponent.
Yes. Yeah.
Let his ass stay home.
But the crazy thing is, my husband would not mind. he wouldn't mind staying at home all day. But I cannot. So it was great though, to be honest. I got closer to my kids. I got to learn them more. They really felt they had that bond with me and we had that time. So just over the summer was perfect. If it would have been the winter, I really would have lost my mind. Yeah. But the fact that it was in the summer, we could go outside, go in the backyard, go to the beach, whatever. It really gave us a great opportunity to bond. And I'm so grateful that now they can go back to school and have that time. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. I 100% agree with that. I pinned this comment because I think it's really awesome. The Nail Dawn said, necessity is a mother of creation. So many businesses begin that way. And she, or I'm assuming it's a she, had posted that when you were talking about like, damn, I just got laid off. What am I going to do? And I also found that to be true. Not that I recommend people just like quit everything and go start some shit, but when people are like, when you're in that desperation, like what's happening. And I think when you have the space to be creative and tap in, things come to mind. So did you experience that? How did that go from you from, damn, I lost my job to I'm about to go do this now?
Yeah. I'm a person that gets bored easily. That's just me. I don't like to sit in one space. When we go to a playground, I'm like, all right, let's find another playground. Like, that's just me. It's who I am. So I just knew that I couldn't sit around at home. There were other coworkers who were like, I'm just going to take the summer off and relax and sit at home. And I'm like, this sounds like a nightmare to me. Like, if I had the money, I would go and travel the world. I would be on the go doing something. But it's like when you don't have any money coming in,
Mm-hmm.
you don't really want to spend so much. So that's why a lot of my first videos were us going to the beach, us going to the park, because those things were free or low cost. But we still
Yeah.
had an opportunity to get out and be doing things together and have a good time. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And what is your motivation throughout all of this? That was another question asked.
So my motivation throughout all of this is what I want to do. Before I started doing this, I had to ask myself, if you could get paid to do anything, or if you had to work and not get paid, right? Just
Hmm.
do it. What would you do? And I was like, I would go do a lot of fun activities and tell people about them. If they're great, if they're not great. Because I know we've all been to something that we saw on Instagram and like, oh, that looks fun, whether it be a restaurant or whatever, and then you go there and it's like, this is not a good time, or it's not what you thought it was. I myself have been invited to places where they're like, please come to this, come do a video, and it was nothing like I thought it was. Like, I've learned to ask so many questions now. Will there be smoking? Is there parking? Like, what's the bathroom situation? Like, it's so many things that you don't think about, and then you go to this event and it's not what you wanted. So
Mm-hmm.
just to have those honest reviews, I love being like a Yelp or whatever. Me and my friend were talking about this yesterday, that Eventbrite is great, right? But there aren't reviews of the event,
Yeah.
right? So it's like you're on Eventbrite, you're looking at like, where can I go? What's a good event? And then you have no idea what it's going to be like, if it's going to be good. Should you spend your money on that? So it's just kind of like that. I want to be the reviewer of all the events. So there are so many people who tell you about a lot of different things, but I want to do the event side and the activity side, and that's my motivation. Is I want to give people what they need and what they want. Um,
Yeah. And so do you feel comfortable, and do you do that now? Like, oh, this shit was trash and this is why.
So yeah, I've never said anything was trash. Except for a beach. Like I so one thing is, I never want to destroy anybody's
I
business,
love
right? Because
that.
they are a business, right? They are a brand, and people work hard to get to where they want. And although it might not be fun for me, right? It
Mm-hmm.
might be fun for someone else. So I'll just put it in perspective. I went on this boat ride, and we got there and everybody was smoking, like cigars, smoking, marijuana, whatever. And we're not smokers. And right away I got like an instant headache. Then they
Right.
told us they didn't have a bathroom on the boat. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? It was just a different vibe. I thought it was going to be a laid back romantic vibe, and it turned out to be like a party vibe.
Right.
So instead of saying this was terrible, don't go, blah, 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 because that's not true. There were people there who had an amazing time, but you need to know
Mm-hmm.
what you're walking into. And so I was happy to be able to have that experience to let people know, hey, if you're a smoker, this is a great place for you. Know that they're smoking. Know that there's no bathroom for 2 hours. Know that it's, even though it's a laid back R&B party, it's not laid back. It's a turn up vibe. Like, know these things before you go, and know if this is what you want to do. Because it's never good to talk trash about anybody's business or anything. Because again,
Yes.
every single person is different, and there are things that I've done videos on and people are like, that looks boring, I wouldn't like that, and I'm like, well, I did.
Yeah.
And I get it. I do so many things. Like, I do a lot of things that people would say is outside of their box. It's not something that they would ever do. It's nothing they would ever seek out or find. And so I love that about my page and about me, that is so versatile, that if you don't like this one thing I posted this week, well, tomorrow I'll probably post something else that you'll like to.
Yeah.
So it's always something fresh and new coming.
Yeah, you got some people on here to attest to that. Millie Living Podcast said you are doing great on the reviews. The Nail Don said it's appreciated too, because I'm a homebody and I can get ideas from your experience. And also, and everything isn't for everyone. That's a great point. You put a great spin on it. Someone's asking what this is about. So we are getting ready to wrap up here in a little bit, but Lisa has like over 80,000 followers, and she's out here creating content for y'all, what to do in Baltimore and the area, and making it fun and having fun along with that. And I thought it was beautiful to have her on here because society would tell us as moms that we can only do A, B, C, or D, and anything after that is not in our trajectory. And that's bullshit. And we can create and do whatever it is we want. So when I find someone who is doing that, I love to have them on. The Nail Down said you recently did that reverse psych thing about the Renaissance Fair, which was cool.
Yeah.
See what else? I had a question. I'm looking through to make sure I'm missing any questions. Something that came up to me. Someone says thank you for setting up our expectations. I love it. With so many followers, do you ever get crazy or hateful comments?
So not really. I don't get any comments directed to me that's hateful. I mean, like I said, people are like, "Oh, that looks boring," or "That looks trash," or whatever. That's not, really to me. I will say that I was very upset that my first video on Instagram to go viral was of a beach, Greenbrier Lake. And a lot of people are like, "It's not a beach. It's not a beach." It is a beach. Anything with the sand part is the beach. The water is the lake. I want to just put that out there. But it was a lot of people saying a lot of racist stuff like, "Oh, that beach was taken over by this race," or "These people go there, those people go there." And it's just so crazy. It's a public beach. Anybody can go. Either you choose to go or you don't, know? And so that really took me out because I thought TikTok was like the crazy one. I did not know Instagram got down like that. So it's a lot of
them people everywhere.
bullies. They're everywhere. A lot of cyber bullies on Instagram land, let me tell you. So it really helped me see like, okay, this is what's going to happen. It made me decide like, who do I want to be? Do I want to mute people's comments? Do I want to delete them? Do I want to let the audience deal with it? Which direction is this going to go?
Yeah.
So that really took a lot of growth really fast because that video, it did over 1 million in like a week and a half. And it was one of my first like good Instagram videos. So it just was like, whoa, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah. And I want to
yeah.
point out here too what you did. I want to point that out. A lot of us don't start things and do things and go for things because our mind gets all warped on what if I get, what if I put myself out there and people don't like what I have to say? What if I, gain all these followers and now people arguing in the comments? Like, what if this? And I love how like you're showing us what it is to just like go for it and deal with things as they come.
Yeah.
And trust that you know how to handle that when it comes. Because when we think about the future and we think, oh, what if this, what if that, how am I gonna gain the followers, how much time I'm gonna take, like whatever dream we have, when it comes to that, if we get stuck in that, the how part of it, then we don't take action. So like really focus on y'all, like who are you being when you start that business, when you start the nonprofit, when you start speaking, when you want to start building a following in your area, posting great content like Lisa. Like who are you being, and worry about the how and how you're going to deal with this and that later.
Definitely. And I think one thing that really helps me is I'm surrounded by great friends. So when I decided that I wanted to do this, even my tax lady who only sees me once a year, and I'm like, I'm thinking about doing content creation. She's like, "Oh, I see that for you. You could do that." And I'm like, "Lady, you don't even know me," And I think a lot of people have people in their circle who tell them, "You want to do what? You want to start your own business? You want to do this? You want to do that?" Like, what? You need to not surround yourself with people like that. You need to surround yourself with people who are going to lift you up because I didn't even know if I could do it at the beginning, to be honest. I honestly was like, I'm thinking of it. It's a thought. And everybody I would tell, I'm thinking of this. They're like, "Oh, that was meant for you. That's what you should be doing." So it's like, even if I thought I couldn't do it, I have all these other people around me who are like, "Oh, why aren't you doing that? You should have been doing this." So that's crazy. So I think get yourself a good, strong circle. And then lastly, as far as the comments, I don't really have to say too much, right? Because my followers are so amazing that if somebody were to ever say something terrible to me, then I know that they will have my back. They will fight in the comments and go up against any sort of negativity or ignorance or anything. So
yes. And thank you for sharing that about your circle because, and I want to point this out too, that I 100% agree with you. And also, many people are thinking they don't have that. I'm around like a lot of lobsters, crabs in a bucket, and they don't think bigger than me and all that. That's when we take personal responsibility to go out and create those people. So many people that have helped me to move forward when I was scared, or helped me to put myself out there when I was worried about what people would think. And when it continues to happen, like, I've never even met these people in person. Hell, if you have to, invest in that shit. Like, pay somebody to be that person for you. Like, don't allow like the few people that you thought would support you and they're not. Well, I guess I don't have my people. So no, go
Yeah.
and create that.
Yeah. And that's what I did. I hit up people, like I said, who already post content and was like, hey, can I ask you some questions? Can we da da da? And now I'm actually in a group with other people who create content. I find Facebook groups with content creators or different people that I can make new connections. I have a new friend on here who is really big into business stuff, and me and her connected because I was doing this. Like, we already knew each other from a mom circle, but we didn't go deep
Yeah.
until I started doing this. And I'm like, hey, I have some questions. So I think starting something new, try to get new friends around that, and really surround yourself with people who are going to force you to grow.
Yeah, and people want to help. Like, I know society is like, oh, people are doing this and people like that's only it's a very small percentage of people who are negative. Like, people love to help and to serve. And like, if I figured it out, yeah, like, what you want to know. And that's how people are. Like, when they have done that, like, they want to help you. Let's see. How do you decide where to go and then post footage about? And that was a question I'll just add on my last piece to that was, how do you plan? So how do you plan where to go? How do you decide? Like, how do you do that with kids, with work? Like, do you plan a certain amount of time ahead? What does that look like?
So I just already in my head because I'm just always thinking about doing fun stuff. I always am like, oh yeah, I want to go to this place. Oh yeah, I want to go to that place. One thing I would say about Facebook is it really knows me.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook is always showing me ads of like fun stuff because it knows I click on it very often. So
Okay.
Facebook, a lot of times I don't even have to think about something. Facebook, bam, my ad. Oh, a unicorn world is coming to town. Oh, that looks cool, So I think that's a big help of it knowing who I am, right? That helps
Mm-hmm.
me. But one of the big things is I read. And so a lot of people say, how did you know about this? And my blanket answer is I read. If you go to your favorite place, maybe you go to your favorite restaurant, they might have a billboard at the front of the restaurant that says, on Tuesdays, we have trivia night. But if you don't read, if you're not looking for that, you'll never know. So that's the one tip I'll give people. If you're looking for more things to do or something new, the places that you already frequent, just read. And I'm
Yeah.
sure there's something that you didn't even know that they offered or they had. As far as planning, I just, again, jot down a list of places I want to go, things I want to do. I reach out to those people and, say, hey, are you, interested in me coming? And see if we can work together.
Yeah.
So,
We're finishing up, y'all. Ask these last couple of questions.
okay.
Do you ever meet your followers when you're out on the go? And that was from Hand in the Cookie Jar. And then Jamie Apple says, if you could take a trip tomorrow, where would you go?
So I always meet my followers. It's so interesting because I'm just out enjoying life, and then somebody walks up, it's like, "Oh, you're Summers, or you're the lady that posts the places to go. We're here because of you,
Oh, wow.
or we went to this because of you." And it's just so surreal because it shows that what I'm doing is actually helping people. So, like you said, even if it's just helping that one person, they actually come up to me, and I think, well, these people came up to me, but how many people didn't come up to me or didn't know I was here? I remember I went to the hot air balloon festival, and my kids were cranky and acting crazy, and we were leaving, and somebody, grabbed me real quick, was like, hey, we're here because of you. And it just made me feel so renewed and so good because kids are kids. So when I'm out with them, they're still being kids. They're hungry, they're cranky, they're angry, they're whatever. And I'm trying to film at the same time and stop my child from running and jumping in the lake. So it's a lot.
Out here
But
risking lives for y'all.
exactly, risking it all. One day I'm gonna put out that footage for y'all, like a compilation. But it's crazy. So whenever somebody tells me like, thank you for your content, I appreciate it, I'm following you, it gives me that jolt, it gives me that extra to say, let me keep going. So I really
Mm.
appreciate that. So I met two people on Sunday. I was at a farm shooting content, and they're like, hey, I follow you. So it's just so nice. And if I could take a trip tomorrow, where would I go? So my favorite place in the entire world, although I've been to over 20 countries and 45 states, is Mexico. I love
Mexico.
Mexico. I would go to Mexico. So I haven't been to Mexico City yet, so that's on my next bucket list. I need to go to Mexico City. But if not Mexico, I would go on a cruise. I am a big cruiser. I've been on like 9 cruises. I love cruising because they have daycare. So you can put your kids in the daycare starting at age 2 and up, and you can have you time.
Bullshit.
So this
Bullshit. When I was on a cruise at a Royal, was it Carnival? I don't know. I think it was Carnival, y'all. No, my baby was 8. Was she 18 months? She was not 2 yet, and they took
Oh,
her.
they
So
took it. Oh,
try it.
oh yeah, 18 months took it. Okay, good. Yeah, yeah. So I would definitely go on a cruise, because a cruise is the time that I know I can actually have a vacation, that
Yes.
somebody else is watching the kids and I can go have fun and do me, and then me and my husband trade off, where like in the morning he might get the kids and I might sleep in, or vice versa, or like he's more of a late nighter, so I'll sleep in with the kids while he might walk around the boat and go to the club or do whatever. So it's just a really great way for all of us to have fun together and apart and see something new. So yep.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for all of this. I think that we have all enjoyed you, learning from you, and y'all just see what happens when you like have an idea and you go for it and you don't take no for an answer. Like I don't know how to do this. Okay, I'm gonna figure it out. How do I figure it out? Like just those next step pieces. And I see you doing that. I love that. And what I'd like to ask is, let me hold on, because I'm asking some questions. Let me see. I think we asked everything because I wanted to make sure I picked your brain. Let us know what's next for you, how we can support you. Like, how can we show up for you in the way that you're showing up for us, especially those in your area, all the things.
So what's next for me is definitely continuing to showcase more things around, but not only in Maryland, right? I love showing things in Maryland, things close to home, but I want to show other things. Like spring break is coming up or right around the corner. I know you're thinking, oh, Christmas is coming, but if you don't book something for spring break soon, everything's going to go up high. You're not going to have it, right? So I would love to go to other places, like go to PA, go to New Jersey, go to, Virginia, and kind of find some other places for people to go. Fly to Minneapolis. Hey, why not go to Mall of America? I want people to also leave Maryland too. So that's why my page says Maryland and beyond.
Mm.
And just know that there are a lot of experiences out here that you all can do with kids or without kids. So my next part of my journey is showing a little bit more travel, a little bit more on places that you can go. You can go for a weekend, you can go for a day, you can go for a week, however, and not just Maryland. And then what I would like to do is not just show events happening in Maryland, but what about if you decided to go to Florida, What about a cool fun event that's happening there? So you know when to plan that Florida trip so you can go do that. So these one of a kind experiences, that's kind of where I am and what I want to show people all over the world.
Yes. So everybody tag your bestie, tag your loved one that, add them to this live so they can follow her, that wants to, follow someone and find some fun shit to do for themselves, for their family, their spouses, their kids. PC, I see your last question. I'll tie that in with my last question is, I always like to tie in like motherhood. And so I'll take her question and tie that in. She says, what has been your favorite thing so far on this journey? And I want you to conclude, like, as being a mom, what's been the benefit there for you?
So my favorite part on this journey is just hearing from people that I'm affecting their lives. Like, you're here because of me. You went and did this because of something I showed you. Seeing people out in real time saying, hey, I follow you, thank you so much for all the tips and advice. A lot of times in my previous corporate job, even the job I work now, you're like, oh, I'm doing all right for the job, but you're just one of a million people. They can
Yeah.
replace you tomorrow. Just like I got let go before, I got let go again. But if
Yeah.
I actually just stopped posting content, didn't show anything, I'm sure there's somebody who would miss me and say,
Yeah.
hey, where's that lady that showed us fun things to do? So knowing that keeps me going. My daughter loves to tell everybody that we're TikTok stars. And so that is her go-to. My mommy's on TikTok. We're on TikTok. We're TikTok stars. So I think just whatever this can grow into, because she loves seeing our videos and seeing herself on the camera. And then this has afforded us a lifestyle to be able to go and do a lot of things. Of course, I'll be honest, people gift it to us. They let us enjoy the experience for free. And just coming off of a 6-month layoff where I didn't have any money, I still don't have a lot of money. Being able to take my kids somewhere fun, like to a farm that costs $20 a person, and we get to go for free, and they give us a free pumpkin. Like, that to me is worth everything. So able to give my kids experiences every weekend that we can afford because we do the videos and we do these things. So I can't wait till that turns into something bigger where we can go on a trip to
Yes.
Hawaii because of this, or we can have better experiences. So I think as a family, that's what's really like, wow, look at all these doors that have opened up for us and all these places we can go and things we can do because of this.
Yeah. And I want to point out that it's not for free. Like, you're getting in those events and getting these experiences in exchange for the joy that you're bringing people online, and also the business that you're bringing them. Like, the time that you are spending to edit videos, to make it to where we want to watch it. Like, all of that, there's an energy exchange there. So you are benefiting the company that is allowing you to come in, and you're benefiting us by say, hey, like, I know all this is happening in the world, but we can create joy still. So thank you.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you for having me. Now, again, I'm trying to make this my full-time thing. So that's where I'm going for the future. And I really appreciate you having me here because it is hard. People don't see everything happening behind the screen,
Yeah.
the kids screaming and crying, and my husband having an attitude once in a while, everybody, me having an attitude with him, but we are on the way to do a video, and we're in the car like, oh, I'm so upset with you, but we gotta go, so
Yes.
there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes, but we still make it work. And I appreciate you having us here, having me here to share this journey. And anything you put your mind to, you can definitely do it. So I'm thankful for the space and you doing this podcast about moms achieving, because we're like superheroes when we can do it all. So
Hell yeah. You
thank
have
you.
fucking inspired so many people. So thank you. Like, we're blessed to have you. Y'all follow her. If you're not following, if you're from my place, come follow me. If you want to connect, I do podcasts like this all the time. Moms to Achieve can be heard everywhere. You can go to my page and see the link tree thing and go there. If you have friends, tag some. Like, if everybody tag, you listen and you got value from here, like, tag a few people so that they can see what she's doing and we can support her as she's showing up with a family and in exchange of us seeing what's possible out there. So thank you, girl. We'll connect soon,
Yeah.
and y'all have a blessed night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, y'all.